So Helldivers 2 is now sold like over 8 million copies. It's well ahead of expectations. Obviously, I think Helldivers 1, like God, well, it only had like what 7,500 players or something like
something
that.
like that.
It was something ridiculous. Servers continue to have to be increased and worked on because, like, I know you told me that you've gotten articles that people are breaking servers basically.
Well, so more or less what that was is like last week, the community event was to liberate a specific planet, and upon liberating it, they gained access to a factory that built mechs that people could deploy, a new stratagem to deploy mechs. And apparently, the players were so ready for mechs that they conquered the planet 4 times ahead of time of expectations.
Yeah.
And they had just gotten the servers up and running to a point where people could actively get on and whatnot. Then the mechs came out, and the mechs destroyed everything again. And they're just like, and they had to be sorry, the mechs are being a disturbance. We're gonna increase servers again.
Yeah, like the game is just literal pure chaos in like the best way.
Yeah.
From like the mech stuff they've added. Have they added, or is it still coming? The fire tornadoes, is that in the game now?
I don't
I know it's coming. I
think it's coming because right now the
Okay.
community event, they're working on liberating 4 planets from the bugs.
Okay.
And if upon success, they get some sort of pesticide that stratagem, but it also frees those 4 planets for the foreseeable future. And they've also unlocked free rocket launcher stratagems for everyone, even if
Okay.
you don't have it right now.
All right.
So
Great community support on this game so far. Like, I mean, everything's still like the best part is like almost everything's just kind of like mostly being like added for free, isn't it? Like,
yeah,
there's a couple
everything's
things
for free.
Yeah, I mean, like it's great community support. It's going to be in that category for the Game Awards, that's for sure. Probably going to win it too, especially if it keeps on, rocking this way for the next few months and stuff. But just like the success for it, it's just unbelievable right now. Like it is like the content for it is hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
I love seeing it on TikTok. It fucking kills me.
Because this week's event, they have a whole week to liberate 4 planets. They were liberating a planet a day last I checked.
Really?
Yeah, it's fascinating from my perspective because I've seen all the news on the game. I've kind of avoided it because, I mean, it's one of those games where you hear everything about it. Once you start seeing it, you kind of get that mode of, man, I really want to play it now.
I want to try it.
I do want to get it, yes.
And I had avoided it completely, like actually watching anything on it until yesterday.
Oh.
Are you watching the bug conquering?
I was watching some of it. Man, that game.
It looks so much fun.
It's one of those games that looks insanely fun, but also at the exact same time is probably one of the games that is even more fun to play.
Exactly.
which is a rare thing to like see all the clips and go, yeah, that looks insane, and then just be sitting there and go, that's got to be the most fun thing ever to actually do.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I mean, look, I want to get it, boys. Okay. Like,
I mean, it's a good game to
wanna
pick
get
up
it.
because
I plan to buy it.
it's under sort of regular what you would expect from a game that looks that good, and only $40 versus the 70 we're getting used to. So
Right. Yeah, no, I want this game. So if you guys are interested, let me know because I plan to buy it sometime here in the near future.
I'm not sure if my PC can run it now because my PC's old.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd 100% be down to give it a go.
I want to give it a go.
'Cause I have a feeling that it's one of those games where it's like you're playing it, it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to it's the type of game that's going to create moments.
Yeah.
Like you said, you've been seeing on TikTok that
Yep.
it's one of those great games where it's like at any point in time something dumb can happen that's just a great clip to see.
Right. Like, and that's the beauty of it. The beauty of it as well is, again, behind like the the fact that it was a day and date launch with PC. We kind of chatted about this, I think, a couple of weeks ago. But I just thought it was really interesting to see Sean Layden come out and talk about it. I think he was in an interview with VentureBeat, I think is who it was. And he was really kind of dialing in on like just the cost of games and stuff, and obviously referencing Spider-Man 2, where its cost got leaked from all the court stuff, where basically kind of what he was talking about recently is like when a game exceeds $200 million, exclusivity is your Achilles heel. It reduces your addressable market, particularly when you're in a world of live service gaming or free to play on other platforms. It's just another way of opening the funnel, getting more people in a free play world. As we know, 95% of those people will never spend a nickel. I don't know if that's an accurate number, though. I will say that. 95% will never spend a nickel. I don't know about that one, Chief. I think that one that might be a little bit different. I'm not saying it's going to be high, but or extremely low. But I definitely think that's not completely accurate.
It's probably closer these days
Yeah,
than you actually think it is, because
It depends on the game, I guess.
well, most games because like any free to play game, yes, it's gonna have microtransactions, it's gonna have its battle pass, it's gonna have all that. But more than ever these days, like just by like you could be a completely free to play person playing whatever game, whether it's like I don't know how some of them work, but most battle passes, they're still the free version is still gonna give you like decent enough skins. You'll slowly accrue some currency, like some of the premium currency, to where you can eventually get like the paid version of the battle pass or something if you find one you like. And most of the time with these battle passes nowadays, just like buying it and playing it through the end gives you enough credits to, or like whatever your premium currency is, to be able to buy the next one.
Yeah. I just saw that number, and my first thought is I feel like probably like 80% is probably more accurate. We'll probably never spend. I feel like there's a good chunk of people that's going to spend something at least once, even if it's like $1, $2. You know what I mean? That was my thought. It's like I feel like it's more maybe 80% will never spend a nickel. Either way, that different conversation. The business is all about conversion. You have to improve your odds by cracking the funnel open. Helldivers 2 has shown that for PlayStation, coming out to PC at the same time. Again, you get the funnel wider, you get more people in. He did address the single player conversation, which is where we kind of led with it, a couple weeks ago, where it's just like can see them kind of doing the multiplayer games on both, but keeping single player like more exclusive. But he said like for single player games, it's not the same demand. But if you're spending $250 million, you want to be able to sell it to as many people as possible, even if it's just 10% more. Former Xbox boss Peter Moore also said the same thing recently when talking about Halo. He said if Microsoft says to themselves, wait, we're doing $250 million on one of our own platforms, but if we took Halo and like let's say make it third party, we could do $1 billion. You got to think long and hard about that, right? So it's just like they both talk about that exclusivity is still important and it's still an important thing. And I think all three of us can agree to that. That's what makes the consoles. If we didn't have exclusivity, it's like what's the point of buying them? You know what I mean? But it does continue to raise that interesting conversation of cases like Sony with their day and date stuff. You know what I mean? Just to continue to increase the revenue. And it's kind of the question, what titles need to be that day and date? Is it strictly just multiplayer games? Is it single player games that might be a little bit of a smaller IP releasing on PlayStation, basically keep like the God of Wars and the Spider-Mans and stuff like that, PlayStation only for the first year or two, then bring it over. It's like, where's the line with this? Because I'm still personally, I know you guys don't agree with me, but I'm still in the boat that PlayStation is going to have a Sony launcher eventually. It may be a couple of years from now, but it's coming. It's just a matter of when, in my opinion. What's you guys' thoughts on what titles, like what direction they should go with this? Because again, I really do feel like Helldivers 2 is going to make them be like, maybe we need to reevaluate some things, not all, but some.
It's not even just, look at it, it's not even just Sony doing it.
Yeah, true.
A couple weeks ago we literally talked about Xbox addressing like what games are going multi-plat.
Yeah, that's true.
And I assume that Sony's going to kind of look at it the same way. Funny enough, they'll probably be a little less strict with it, in a sense, where like Microsoft games that are like a game like Hi-Fi Rush, for example.
Yeah,
that's a game like that is one I feel like nobody's going to look at and go, yes, this absolutely has to be just on our console. Not anymore. Where it's like they may do it for a limited period of time, but realistically, that should come out on every console the moment it's released.
Yeah.
Or it should come out everywhere the moment it's released. But it's like some of the other games, like you're talking like multiplayer games. Well, then you have to look at like from Xbox side of it. They're just now going to be letting Sea of Thieves go.
Yeah, I know, right?
And that's one of those great examples of Xbox can do that for Sea of Thieves and keep it on their own network for so long, where I don't think Sony could have done that with Sea of Thieves.
Right.
Just because Sea of Thieves has been Game Pass, play it wherever you want to, however, for like as much as you want to. Whereas I don't think Sony could have gotten away with that strictly because they don't have the PC market right now.
Right. I did see with the Sea of Thieves thing and going to PlayStation, I saw like some article where Xbox said, yeah, Sony's been like super helpful getting this over. I'm like, yeah, I bet they are.
Yeah.
You know, they're getting a huge player base.
There was a screenshot where the most pre-ordered game coming up was Sea of Thieves on PlayStation Network.
Yeah, like I bet they were really helpful getting it over. You know, you're getting a huge player base, so I have no doubt on that.
But also, like, speaking of Sony looking at like Helldivers 2 with the success of it, I'm also pretty certain, like this is just my opinion, that upon Helldivers, like them gonna be releasing it, they're probably looking at it like, I mean, your previous game didn't do hardly anything. Yeah, we'll let you do what you want to here, and it comes out and blows up, and they're like, hold on a minute. This was the plan all along.
Yeah.
We knew it was going to be this way.
We knew it was going to be a banger and take over the world.
They're never going to know. They can always just guess which games are going to do well.
Yeah.
Granted,
Yeah.
when it comes to single player games, yeah, most of the time we know the ones that are going to be the big hitters of the year, or like the big hitters that are going to come out, because it's usually certain developer that's got the track record of like, hey, we make really good versions of games that's this style.
Yeah.
Let us make that. And they go, yeah, here, have some money.
Kind of like the whole Naughty Dog situation where they had that, you know, that factions multiplayer and they canceled it. Literally them saying, if we do this, we're going to have to devote most of our, you know, team to this to support it for how long? Like 6 to 8 years. It's like we still want to make single player games. It's kind of like that.
Yeah. And as far as what type of games are going to be multiplat, I assume, like I said, the games like Hi-Fi Rush that really, like, that game already exploded when it came out. Mm-hmm. If that would have been on everything, it would have been even crazier.
Oh, most definitely.
And it's like games like that where it's kind of its own experience in a way, but it's not like it's not like a single player game that you're going to look at and go, that's going to be like the great story game, or that's going to be the great RPG or something like that for the year. If it's coming from Sony or Xbox or something, they're not going to let those type of games be go everywhere for at least a little bit.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say strictly multiplayer games, because I'm pretty sure Sony just got lucky with Helldivers too.
I think so too.
Oh, most definitely.
I think they thought they were sending it out to die, and it blew up and took over the world, and now they're trying to act like it was their vision from the beginning.
No, it's debatable whether they thought it was going to die, because, I mean, Helldivers still had a decent community behind it to keep it going, but that's neither here nor there. I mean, in terms of exclusivity, I mean, I may be on the side of where I follow Microsoft enough where I'm just like, just get shit on everything.
Yeah, people will play it.
Yeah, people will play it regardless. I mean, I see the appeal and stuff of keeping exclusivity for like the main big titles that we know of and everything, especially PlayStation doing it the best, seeing as Microsoft's exclusivities haven't been the greatest the last couple of years. I'm looking at you, Redfall.
Poor Redfall catching a strike.
But honestly, Zach, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. It's like, Sony, if you want to keep your God of War, your Spider-Man, your Last of Us, or something like that.
Horizon.
If you want to keep those,
Their main,
it's like
Sony Entertainment
Yes.
IPs.
Yes.
the ones that, like, when you think of PlayStation, that's what you think.
Yeah.
If you want to keep those and be like, these are going to maintain exclusives, and eventually we'll release them on PC, I've got no problem with that.
Yeah.
But just about everything else, the same to Microsoft, same like you said. Just put it out. If I like Sony, if you release a game, I don't want to wait 4 years to play it on PC.
Yeah.
Or it's like Xbox, if you release something, I would like the option to play it where I have all of my other games, which is primarily on my PlayStation at this point.
Now, I was gonna ask you guys this, and also sidebar. I immediately thought with the Helldivers 2 thing, I thought, oh yeah, you know, we've got that Marathon reboot coming. I wonder if that's gonna be that one is actually going to multiplat right out of the gate. So fun fact on that, Marathon is going to be on Xbox and PC. You know, so shout out to that, I guess.
I know what he's talking about.
Okay.
The Bungie game. Oh, okay. Well, PvP extraction shooters revealed like a year or two ago. It's basically them giving a new breath of fresh air to their original IP. Is what it is. But
it's like it's kind of like old school. Like this is where we came from, and we want to do it again.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
exactly.
Okay.
Now, one thing that I was thinking about when it comes like the single player experiences, do you see any chance that like maybe down the line when Sony takes like maybe a swing at one of their single player franchises that really don't perform that well and making that one go to like, let's say PC day and date? Good example, because we saw the numbers. I don't have them off the top of my head, but I know the game went into the negative. Good example, Ratchet and Clank. I know that's a PS2 era classic, right? Like but I think we can all agree Ratchet is not like a main face of PlayStation anymore. It's not. He's not. And Rift Apart, while a good game, critically acclaimed and stuff, it did not sell well versus the production cost. So my question is, in a game like that, like if they do another Ratchet, do you see that one going to PC day and date to help get those sales moving? Because like the God of Wars, the Last of Us, the Spider-Mans, the Horizons, I totally understand those. But some of these others that do well but don't do well enough, that's where I was just like, okay, yeah, I can see that one maybe going day and day. What do you guys think?
I mean, me personally, at this time, I don't see Sony doing any of their, what's very much, as I was mentioning, they're considered their first party IPs as a day and day. I mean, maybe if they drag out dust it off an old one, like maybe Jack and Dexter or Sly Cooper.
Yeah, I was gonna mention those, but I thought you were gonna be the one like, that's not happening. Those are dead.
If they wanted to dust those suckers off it, maybe they do those a day and day. But and just how we've seen Sony over the last couple years, even then, I would still see them doing those exclusive, even though I feel like a day and day might be good for an older series.
I think it would be good for them, yes. You'd get more players in a lot faster.
Because, again, those series died back during PS3 era.
Yeah.
I think the last Sly game may have been early PS4.
I think Sly Cooper 4, I think it was PS4.
It was either PS4 or very late PS3.
You're right. It's one of the two. But Jack died in what? Did Jack die in PS3 or PS2?
Jack died in PS3 because we got the Jack and Dexter collection.
Okay, that's true.
In PS3.
Yeah, but the last actual new Jack game was just the racing game, wasn't it?
Yes.
And that was that
PS2?
PS2? Yeah. Oh man, poor Jack and Dexter. Well, we did get the Daxter PSP game. Let's give that some respect.
There was actually two of those.
Oh, we'll give them some respect.
They're actually good.
They are.
They are good. I enjoy those games. I love the PSP.
But yeah, I mean, besides that, that's the only. It would be hard for me to see Sony not doing exclusivity just because of how much we've seen them fight Microsoft and others on crossplay.
Yeah.
I will say, like, when we're talking about like exclusivity versus like just putting it out there on wherever it, like on all consoles, kind of. I mean, really, at this point, like, we're kind of looking at it like, is Sony gonna be the one to open it up and do it? No. They're gonna still be the side of it that we're like, come on, let us play it on something else.
Right.
Xbox is still gonna be the one where it's primarily like, okay, we're gonna release it and it's like we'll get it over to you pretty quickly if it doesn't come out there immediately. Whereas Sony, most of the time, it feels like it'll happen, but like they're like kicking and clawing their way to hold on to it.
Yeah.
And which my other thing here is, which I want to throw in there, is that this is just Microsoft and Sony, and no spectrum or time frame in any kind of world I perfectly know right now, Nintendo will never give up exclusivity.
No, they won't.
We will not see one of their IPs on something else besides the Nintendo console.
True. That's a big fact. I was waiting on someone to mention Nintendo here.
There's no point in mentioning them because like
we already know what they're doing.
They don't even like Nintendo fans playing their games.
They don't like Nintendo's doing ROM hacks.
Shout out to Yuzu, man. Yuzu's dead.
Yeah.
And spawned 5 children at the same time.
Like, oh my god. I mean, brutal.
Nintendo is of the opinion they're like, you bought a Switch to play this game. It's like, and it's like, because remember they're like with the DS. Originally the DS, everything was tied. Like everything, if you bought it digitally and everything, it was tied to the DS itself, not your account.
Yep.
So if you lost it or something,
you're screwed.
They were like. And you're like, hey, I bought these games on this account. Is there any way to track it? They're like,
nope.
Fuck you for being a Nintendo fan. Buy it again.
Basically. Now, a couple things. Number one, Nintendo has at least finally gotten on the board of accounts because the president has
eventually.
been stressing that, make sure you have your account information, whatever, kind of indicating that the next console is probably going to be obviously backwards compatibility.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to access your library and stuff. But I will just random tidbit throwing into the Yuzu thing. Nintendo's in the right for that one because Yuzu's putting out brand new Switch games. That one I can see an argument for, but where I can't see the argument from Nintendo is when people are trying to throw out there Super Nintendo games, Nintendo 64, just trying to keep preservation right because Nintendo doesn't not that great of a job at it. That's where I see those where they shut down this site or whatever. I'm like, okay, all right, you guys are being pieces of shit now. Now the argument they had with Yuzu where it's just they got their hands on Tears of the Kingdom weeks before it came out. All right, I can understand that one. But Nintendo, they don't like people playing their games. You're right, they don't. So,
Yeah, they barely tolerate us playing their games after we buy them legitimately.
yeah, I know. No, Nintendo's gonna Nintendo. They're gonna exist in their own little bubble, and they're gonna be fine in their bubble, and they never want to leave their bubble, and that's fine. Just let them do their thing. Yeah.
I will say the one thing, kind of coming back to Xbox, for Microsoft's side, it's granted, former Xbox boss, but the idea of Halo third party,
Yeah, I know.
it's the fact that that's even mentioned makes you kind of go, wonder how much they've actually talked about that.
They have. That's the thing. Realistically, it's the conversation.
Yeah, it's you gotta. The question is, how far do you think it's gone? Because somebody's got to be sitting there just going at the end of the line, just putting their foot down, going, no.
Yeah. It's either a very quick conversation or it might be one that lasts a few minutes. You never know, but the conversation has happened or is happening. One of the two. Especially with the dumpster fire that Halo Infinite's consistently been, they've potentially looked at it.
And it's at this point, any Halo finish just go, just do it. Just do it. How bad? No. It's how bad can it be?
When all those big leaks were coming out that everything's going multi-plat, they're killing the Xbox and all that. I saw a lot of people that I follow that still play Halo Infinite and stuff, where it's just they had some gif of Master Chief stepping up with a gun. It's just I'll be waiting for the Sony guys when they come in day one. I'm ready. It's let them in. Let them in. They want to talk. Let them in.
That's the thing. It's because what idea is if the talk for Halo be a third party, going third party and just kind of be whatever. It's why not? It's how much more of a dumpster fire can it get than what it's been?
Right.
Just let it happen.
Just open the funnel, as Sean Layden said. Open that funnel, bust it open.
Yeah.
Just bust open the funnel. Just do what he said, man. No, it is an interesting conversation, especially with the success of Helldivers. So, I'll be very curious to see what titles are going to continue to be in that situation because obviously they're looking at it with Marathon going multi-plat. Other multiplayer titles they're going to work on, let's say throwing this out there because the other games are obviously on PC. That Horizon multiplayer game, is that going to be on PC fairly quickly? Is it going to be day and date? Is it going to be within a few months, a year? What is that one going to be? Lots of interesting conversations when it comes to that stuff. Because with this other topic we've got, the Spider-Man thing is the same thing. If that would have actually come out, would that come out to PC fairly quickly or even day and date? You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know.
Not with Spider-Man and Insomniac on it.
Well, with it being, multiplayer games, that's the only reason why I would question, will it? So,
No.
I don't know.
Nah, because it's potentially, but it would be, in my opinion, anything.
Look at Foam Stars, Alex.
I know.
It came out and it died.
They had no faith in that game. They threw that thing out to die. They threw out Destruction All-Stars out to die. Destruction All-Stars was supposed to be some launch title at $70 before the PS5 came out. And I looked at it and I was like, it looks kind of cool. And then I saw a news 2 weeks before the PS5 launch where it's so the game has been delayed. It's coming out in February and it's going to come out with PlayStation Plus. And I'm like, all right, so this game sucks. They're not going to be able to sell it at $70. I feel the same way on Foam Stars. I feel the exact same way. The concept looked okay, this could be interesting. They're just trying to make their own Splatoon. That's fine. But it just going immediately to PlayStation Plus, I'm just like, okay, that tells me that you have no faith in this game because I've already seen this cycle before. That's one that maybe could have survived a little bit on PC. A little bit. It would have gotten at least a small little player base. You know what I mean? Probably more than it got on the PlayStation. So, I don't know. All interesting conversations to have.
Where were you going, John, before I cut you off on accident? You remember it now?
Might have lost it.
Where were we?
I think I was pitching like Horizon and Spider-Man to be on.
Oh yeah,
Was
yeah.
it involving that?
No,
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
that
it was.
stuff. It's kind of in with the Phobe Star stuff in a sense where I can see like your thought of like, well, it's multiplayer.
Yeah.
It might go there, and the thing would be eventually it would get there. They would probably rush it to be done in 6 months to try to get it there when they realized, oh, people probably didn't only want to play this on like PlayStation.
Yeah.
It's like we needed more people for it. But like for Phobe Stars, man, I don't know what they were thinking with that. It's one of those where it's like I get it. Even for Splatoon on like Switch and that, it's still in its niche corner.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Where it's like it has its fan base and they just stay quiet and they go do their thing and they play Splatoon.
Yeah. It's with the way that you worded that, I want to throw in there. It's so shocking with how large that fan base is, but they still stay in their corner and do their thing.
Yeah, they
They
just
do. They really do.
Like kudos to them, man. They just chill and play the game. Shout out to that.
they just sit over there and they play Splatoon. And it's like Sony's like, man, they really love this game. Let's make our version of it. It's like, yeah, nobody's gonna be quiet and just play it. It's like, you're Sony, man. Everybody's gonna yell. It's like if it comes out and it's not great, people are gonna yell, especially if you make it pay for it.
Especially since that was also a Square published game as well. Double whammy.
Square just
Yeah,
publishes
I was
things.
gonna say,
they publish almost anything.
was
at
gonna
this
Square
point.
doesn't look at it anymore. They go,
Yep, sign off. One of these is gonna hit. One of these is gonna hit.
Yeah.
And we're gonna take the
Square
We're gonna take all the credit.
Square has very much taken the shotgun approach.
they
just-
really have.
They're just like it's like Square. If we throw enough out there, we'll get a hit or two.
Yeah.
No, it's not even that. I feel like at this point with Square, as a publisher, they're just like, oh, you want to put something out? What's the basis? All right, sounds good.
I don't think
Here's
I don't think
check.
I don't think the conversation gets that far sometimes.
It may not.
Yeah, it may
It
not.
may
Like they
not.
may just see like like 2 words of a sentence. Like, all right, looks good. Move on.
I think what happens is
Skill shooter, more detail. RPG,
Yeah. Yes, that's right.
Zach, I have a feeling that they just have a submission. Like one person's job is just to sort through all the emails asking to like be published by Square.
yeah.
And whoever's going through it, they're not reading the email. They're just seeing if the subject line is exciting.
Yeah.
They're looking for like
That's all you got to get. Is
they're
just give them
looking for the
subject
letters
line.
RPG
Yep,
or a
yep.
cool sounding name.
Yes. That's all they're looking for. They get that. Boom, publishing deal, baby.
It's like, and then after they've signed off on it, someone opens up and reads the email.
Yes, it's just like, wait, what did we sign on for? Oh,
It's like,
this
what are
is
we
gonna
putting?
bomb.
What are we putting our name on now this time?
This is not gonna be good.
Because what, has Square laid off anybody?
That's a great question. I don't know, actually.
I don't think they have.
I mean, maybe the method
They got
works.
they got
Well, I mean,
plenty
got-
of
look,
they got plenty of stuff to publish. They got
Well, not only that, they got money makers as well. Like,
Yeah.
let's be honest on that one. You know?
That's why they can publish all this shit.
I know. 'Cause
without
they're
no
just like, it's
problem.
not a big deal, man. We got the Final Fantasy, online stuff. We got all the 7 games. We have 16. Like, we're
yeah.
good.
They're literally expanding
good.
FF14 servers for Xbox right now.
Yeah, like they're fine. They
like
can
they-
sign off on whatever they want.
You know what? I think I figured it out. Whoever's approving all of this stuff, it's like the intern that's done the best work for the week. They just let him go have. They just hand him the account and they go, have fun.
Oh,
Pick a couple winners.
hey, whatever intern signed off on Deofield, I appreciate you because that's a really fun game.
It's like it's kind of like the intern, the top performer of the week. They go, you get 5.
Have fun. Oh, that's Square in a nutshell, baby. Man, I love their publishing strategy. It's fantastic.
But I'm gonna get so from what we before we get off track, you think that it's probably like a 75-25 whether it would have been exclusive Web of Shadows or a multiplayer game. 75 not, 25 maybe.
Yeah, it's like most of the time, or yeah, I'd say like 75% of me would say, yeah, no way. It's like I have a feeling it would come out exclusive, and then like I said, they would see some backlash of like PC players and or just like see a smaller player count than they expected, and then they would rush a port, but like try to stabilize it instead of just rushing the port and give like 6 months or something and try to save it.
Yeah.
Right. See, the one plus side with any sort, if that game would have come out, talking about Spider-Man: The Great Web, if that would have come out, the one plus side is, Sony does have Nixus software that they've handled pretty much every single PC port. Like that's their job at Sony, is porting games to PC and optimizing it. So they have them. Then I think they have one or two other small studios they've purchased to just be supports. Like they're just there to help out studios, that's smart business in my opinion. So you have those studios, like if you wanted to move this to PC, I feel like you could have those studios help out.
Well, it would be, I'd say it'd be smart business, but like we've had like a 30% success rate on games coming out that are ports that aren't trash. Where it's like it's typically unoptimized.
Yeah,
it's not ready for, it's not a good port for PC, where like you can't even remap half the controls how you would typically want to or should be available. And then typically the biggest problem is they're just trying to port over 1-to-1 and think, oh yeah, that's going to be a great idea, and then it comes out and it's like you get like 1,000 negative reviews that are just people complaining about the game not working properly. And it's like that tends to be the way. That's the thing. It's like, especially with Sony games that come out like that. Like you said, it's like you have people who that are dedicated to doing this.
Yeah,
it's like you have people who should. This is what they should be working on.
Right.
It's like I don't know if it's just you're trying to give them a bunch of different games and just releasing them out of order of how they need to be done. Or what, but
yeah. Well, the next one is going to be Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut in May, so hopefully they don't screw that one up. That's going to be unfortunate because it's a great game.
That is a fantastic game.
I know people who only have PC are probably very excited to play for the first time, so I hope that one doesn't get screwed up.